These are the top 3 plant-based proteins: lentils. You know, I never used to give much thought to lentils. They were just these tiny earthy legumes I saw my grandmother cook occasionally, simmering away in a pot with spices that made the whole house smell warm and comforting. But as I started digging deeper into plant-based foods and their impact on joint health, lentils suddenly became a superstar in my eyes, especially if you, like me, are always on the lookout for ways to soothe nagging joint pain or that stubborn inflammation that just won't quit. Lentils are something you seriously want to consider. What really drew me to lentils initially was their sheer simplicity. I mean, they don't demand much, no fancy prep, no overnight soaking like beans, and yet they're absolutely packed with nutrients. But more than that, lentils are a powerhouse when it comes to arthritis relief. And not in some vague, trendy food blog way. We're talking real science-backed benefits here. Let's start with the protein. Lentils are one of the best plant-based sources of protein out there. A single cooked cup gives you about 18 grams of protein. Now, why does that matter if you have arthritis? Well, protein is what our bodies use to repair tissues, including damaged joints. When you're dealing with chronic inflammation, your body is constantly in a state of repair, trying to patch things up. And if you're not getting enough protein, your body can't keep up with that repair demand. I've noticed that when I consistently include high-protein plant-based meals in my routine, like a hearty lentil stew or even just a lentil salad, my joints actually feel less stiff, less achy. But here's where things really start to get interesting. Lentils are bursting with polyphenols, those amazing plant compounds with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. One study I read on the National Institutes of Health platform pointed out that polyphenols in lentils can suppress the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. That's basically science speak for, they calm the storm inside your joints. These cytokines are notorious for flaring up in people with arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, and lentils seem to naturally tone them down. I remember one winter in particular, my joints were practically screaming at me every morning. I'd wake up, and even walking down the stairs felt like I was made of old rusted metal. That's when I really doubled down on lentils. I started having them in soups, curries, even cold in salads, with lemon juice and herbs. Within a few weeks, it was like my joints were finally exhaling. I still had pain, but that deep, throbbing inflammation, it had started to mellow out. Lentils also bring a nice amount of fiber to the table, about 15 grams in one cooked cup. Now, I know fiber doesn't sound sexy, but trust me, it's doing a lot more than helping your digestion. Fiber actually plays a crucial role in regulating your body's immune response, and since arthritis is essentially your immune system going haywire and attacking your joints, you want that system as calm and balanced as possible. A fiber-rich diet, especially one filled with lentils, helps promote the growth of good gut bacteria, those little guys that keep inflammation in check. There's even research showing that people with higher fiber diets have lower levels of C-reactive protein, a marker that spikes when inflammation is present. And here's another thing that really amazed me. Lentils are rich in magnesium and potassium. These minerals are absolute game changers. Magnesium, in particular, acts almost like a natural muscle relaxer. It helps loosen up stiff joints and reduces pain signals. I remember reading a study that linked magnesium deficiency with higher levels of CRP, and I thought, well, that explains a lot. Ever since I started consciously including magnesium-rich foods like lentils into my day, it's like my joints have a little more breathing room. Not miracle-level stuff, but definitely noticeable. Potassium, on the other hand, helps reduce sodium retention, which in turn reduces water retention, and that can mean less puffiness and swelling around the joints. If you've ever had that swollen knee feeling after a salty takeout meal, you know exactly what I mean. Lentils help balance that out naturally. I've noticed that when I eat lentil-rich meals regularly, I don't wake up with that stiff, bloated feeling that sometimes makes moving around painful. It's like lentils quietly work behind the scenes, keeping everything balanced and calm in my body. Plus, potassium supports muscle function, which is a big deal when arthritis tries to sap your strength. When muscles around your joints are strong, they act like little shock absorbers, easing the pressure on inflamed areas. So, eating lentils isn't just about reducing swelling, it's also about helping my body keep its strength and resilience. It's wild how such a humble legume can have that much impact, but that's exactly why I keep coming back to them. What's more, potassium plays a role in nerve function, so it helps with those aches and tingles that sometimes come with joint pain. It's like a triple whammy of benefits, all packed into one bowl of lentils. Honestly, that's one of the reasons I find lentils so comforting. Not just in flavor, but in how they make my joints feel calmer and my body more balanced overall. Now, if you're worried about carbs, let me stop you right there. Yes, lentils have carbohydrates, but they're complex carbs, the kind that digest slowly and don't spike your blood sugar. That's crucial because inflammation and blood sugar are deeply linked. Spiking your blood sugar over and over can trigger more inflammation in the body. Lentils, with their low glycemic index, help keep things steady, which is exactly what you want if you're dealing with arthritis symptoms. You might be wondering, okay, but how do I make them tasty without wrecking their health benefits? Trust me, lentils are one of the most versatile foods you can have in your pantry. I love making a simple red lentil dal with turmeric, garlic, and ginger, all spices that have their own anti-inflammatory magic. Or sometimes I'll go Mediterranean and toss green lentils with chopped cucumber, cherry tomatoes, red onion, and a squeeze of lemon juice. You can even blend them into burger patties or toss them into a rice bowl for extra bulk and texture. Here's a fun fact I stumbled upon. There's evidence that sprouted lentils have even more bioavailable nutrients. That means if you soak and sprout them before cooking, you might unlock even more of their healing power. I've tried sprouting them myself, and while it takes a bit more time, the flavor becomes nuttier and the texture lighter. Plus, it's pretty cool watching them grow on your kitchen counter. And let's not forget affordability. Lentils are dirt cheap, and I don't mean that as a dig. I mean you get all these joint-loving benefits for pennies. Compared to supplements or fancy wellness foods, lentils are the underdog we all need. One bag can stretch into multiple meals, and if you cook them in bulk, you've got a week's worth of anti-inflammatory meals ready to go. So the next time you feel that telltale ache in your knees or that stiffness in your fingers, try reaching for lentils instead of popping another painkiller. I've found that the relief lentils bring isn't just in the joints, it's in knowing you're fueling your body with something real, something healing, something that's been helping people for generations without side effects or a prescription label. Lentils aren't just a pantry staple, they're a secret weapon, and if you give them a chance, your joints just might thank you. Chickpeas. If lentils were the underdog of plant proteins, chickpeas, or garbanzo beans as some call them, are the charismatic star with a surprising knack for helping arthritis pain. Honestly, I used to think of chickpeas only as the base for hummus or a crunchy salad topper, but when I started learning about their nutritional profile and how they interact with inflammation, I realized chickpeas deserve way more credit. First off, chickpeas pack a serious protein punch, about 15 grams per cooked cup. That's a solid helping, especially for those of us trying to lean on plant-based options to keep muscles strong and joints supported. Because if you ask me, keeping your muscles strong is just as important as calming the inflammation in the joints themselves. Muscles act like shock absorbers around joints, cushioning every movement. When arthritis flares, those muscles can weaken or get tense, making things worse. So protein from chickpeas helps keep everything working smoothly, almost like maintenance fuel for your body. But what really blew me away was how chickpeas are loaded with anti-inflammatory compounds beyond just protein. There's a unique mix of polyphenols, flavonoids, and other antioxidants that seem to get under the skin of inflammation and keep it in check. I remember reading a study that showed chickpeas can reduce markers of inflammation in the blood, like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, two of the main troublemakers in rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. What fascinated me even more was chickpeas' fiber content. One cup delivers about 12 grams, which might not sound like a lot, But fiber is the unsung hero in inflammation management. When I began focusing on fiber-rich foods, including chickpeas, I noticed my digestion improved, but more importantly, my joint swelling seemed to calm down. It turns out that fiber helps feed the good bacteria in your gut, and these bacteria play a huge role in regulating your immune system's response. Since arthritis is basically your immune system attacking your own joints, having a balanced gut flora helps tone down that misguided attack. Another thing chickpeas bring to the table is their magnesium content. Magnesium really seems like a multitasker when it comes to arthritis. I remember days when my knees felt stiff and my back was tight from inflammation, and I started paying attention to magnesium-rich foods. Chickpeas became a go-to because they also provide a good dose of potassium, which helps flush excess sodium out of the body. Excess sodium is a sneaky villain that can increase joint swelling and pain. When I first started incorporating chickpeas regularly into my meals, I did it in the most obvious way, classic hummus. But over time, I got more creative. Chickpeas can be roasted and seasoned for a crunchy snack, blended into soups, or tossed in salads. One of my favorite tricks is to mash chickpeas with avocado, lemon juice, and a pinch of cumin for a creamy, joint-friendly spread that's perfect on toast or as a dip for veggies. I've also tried chickpea flour, also called besan, which is great for making pancakes or even a crispy coating on baked tofu or vegetables. That's the beauty of chickpeas. They're incredibly versatile and fit easily into every meal of the day. One of my favorite ways to use chickpea flour is in a simple savory pancake packed with herbs and spices. It's quick to whip up and gives me a nice boost of protein without any heaviness. Plus, it's gluten-free, so it works well for those days when I want something light but still satisfying. What surprises me is how chickpea flour can transform simple dishes into something so flavorful and filling. When I bake veggies coated in chickpea flour, the texture turns out crispy and golden, like a healthy alternative to fried food that still hits the spot. It's amazing how such a small change in ingredients can make me enjoy my meals more, especially on days when arthritis pain has me craving comfort food, but also wanting to stay healthy. Another thing I love about chickpeas is how they blend seamlessly into dips like hummus or even soups, giving them a creamy texture and subtle nutty flavor. I often find myself experimenting with different herbs, lemon juice, and garlic to keep things exciting. It's like chickpeas never get boring because there are endless ways to prepare them. And when I think about how chickpeas support inflammation relief, it's no wonder I keep them stocked in my pantry. Their fiber content helps regulate digestion, which has been linked to lower inflammation levels in the body. So eating chickpeas doesn't just calm my joints, it supports my whole system. Sometimes I even add cooked chickpeas to my salads or roast them for a crunchy snack, which feels indulgent, but is actually super good for me. Honestly, chickpeas have become one of my go-to ingredients for managing arthritis pain. They keep things interesting in the kitchen and provide that steady energy I need to get through the day. Plus, knowing that they're helping soothe inflammation makes every meal feel like a small win. Now you might ask, are chickpeas just another carb bomb? Well, yes and no. Chickpeas do contain carbohydrates, but these are complex carbs, which means they break down slowly and don't cause blood sugar spikes. And keeping blood sugar stable is key because spikes can lead to more inflammation. So, chickpeas provide steady energy without fanning the flames of inflammation, which is a big win. One of the things I find fascinating is how chickpeas can help with weight management. For anyone with arthritis, excess weight puts more strain on joints, especially weight-bearing ones like knees and hips. Chickpeas are incredibly filling thanks to their fiber and protein combo. After eating a meal with chickpeas, I usually feel satisfied for hours. That satiety helps me avoid the temptation to snack on inflammatory foods like processed junk or sweets. Interestingly, chickpeas also have some micronutrients that specifically support joint health, like vitamin B6, zinc, and folate. Vitamin B6 helps reduce inflammation and is involved in neurotransmitter function, which means it can influence pain perception. Zinc plays a role in tissue repair and immune function, two critical areas when you're dealing with arthritis. Folate is essential for cell repair and regeneration. Together, these micronutrients make chickpeas a mini vitamin factory for your joints. What's even better is that these nutrients work together in synergy, amplifying their benefits. I've found that meals with chickpeas tend to leave me feeling more balanced overall, not just physically, but mentally. Arthritis. Folate is essential for cell repair and regeneration. Together, these micronutrients make chickpeas a mini vitamin factory for your joints. What's even better is that these nutrients work together in synergy, amplifying their benefits. I've found that meals with chickpeas tend to leave me feeling more balanced overall, not just physically, but mentally too. It's amazing how a single food can support so many different systems that impact arthritis symptoms. Another amazing benefit I've come across is chickpeas' ability to reduce oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust for your body, gradually damaging cells and speeding up joint deterioration. The antioxidants in chickpeas neutralize harmful free radicals, which means they help slow down joint damage over time. So, including chickpeas isn't just about managing symptoms, it's about protecting your joints for the long haul. I remember reading about how chronic inflammation and oxidative stress often go hand in hand, making arthritis worse. So eating foods that fight both is a real game changer. What really stuck with me is how those antioxidants in chickpeas, like vitamin C and manganese, team up to keep my immune system strong while calming inflammation. It's like giving my joints a shield that keeps them safer day after day. Sometimes, when arthritis flares hit, it feels overwhelming, but knowing that chickpeas are quietly working behind the scenes to fight damage gives me hope. I also love that chickpeas are a natural source of zinc, which helps with tissue repair. That's crucial when joint cartilage gets worn down, because repairing that tissue means less pain and better movement. And let's be honest, anything that supports recovery feels like a huge win on tough days. Including chickpeas regularly in my meals has felt less like a chore and more like a deliberate way to invest in my future health. It's pretty empowering to realize that something as simple as eating chickpeas can help protect me from worsening arthritis down the road. I recall one winter when my arthritis was flaring hard. I made a habit of adding chickpeas to nearly every meal. I would toss them into stews, make chickpea patties, and yes, binge on homemade hummus. Over a few weeks, I noticed something subtle but important. My morning stiffness reduced, and by midday, I wasn't feeling that constant dull ache. Was it magic? But it was a powerful nudge from my diet that I was on the right track. Tofu. Tofu. Now here's a food that sparks some mixed reactions, right? Some folks love it, others aren't sure what to make of it, and a few write it off as bland or boring. But honestly, if you're dealing with arthritis, tofu might just be your secret weapon. I'll tell you why I became a tofu fan, and why it deserves a starring role in your joint-friendly diet. First, tofu is a complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body can't produce on its own. For those of us relying on plants, complete proteins are like gold because they give you the full spectrum of building blocks needed to repair tissues, especially those sensitive joint tissues that arthritis wears down. One serving of tofu, about 3.5 ounces or 100 grams, gives you roughly 8 grams of protein, which is enough to contribute meaningfully to your daily intake, especially when combined with other plant proteins like lentils and chickpeas. But beyond protein, tofu is packed with something called isoflavones. These are plant compounds classified as phytoestrogens, which means they behave a little like estrogen in the body. Now you might be thinking, wait, why would I want estrogen-like compounds if I have arthritis? It turns out isoflavones have powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that can help calm the immune system's attack on your joints. In fact, some studies have suggested that isoflavones help reduce cartilage degradation and may even protect bone health, which is crucial for anyone struggling with arthritis. When I first dove into the world of tofu, I was surprised by its nutrient density. Besides protein and isoflavones, tofu offers a solid dose of calcium, magnesium, and iron, all important for bone and muscle health. Calcium and magnesium support strong bones and help muscles relax, which can ease the stiffness and tension around arthritic joints. Iron keeps your energy levels up, which is key when inflammation tends to drain you. I've noticed that on days when I include tofu in my meals, my energy holds steady and I feel less sluggish. A huge plus for managing arthritis fatigue. The texture and taste of tofu can be a bit of a learning curve, I'll admit. When I started, I found it bland if not prepared properly. But once I learned a few tricks, tofu quickly became one of my favorite staples. Its mild flavor makes it incredibly versatile. You can marinate it, grill it, bake it, scramble it, or blend it into smoothies and sauces. The key is in how you season and cook it. I remember the first time I marinated tofu overnight in soy sauce, garlic, and a splash of maple syrup. It was a total game changer. Suddenly, that plain block of soy protein transformed into something flavorful and satisfying. And if you press it well to remove excess water before cooking, it crisps up beautifully, giving it this amazing texture that even meat eaters appreciate. Tofu is also fantastic because it soaks up whatever flavors you throw at it, which means you can make it fit any cuisine or mood. From spicy stir-fries to smoky barbecue dishes or even creamy desserts, tofu adapts like a champ. I've even added silken tofu to my morning smoothies for a protein boost without changing the taste much. The more I experimented with tofu, the more I realized it's not just a plant-based protein, it's a blank canvas. That opened up a whole new world of cooking for me, where I could enjoy healthy, arthritis-friendly meals that never got boring. Plus, knowing it's packed with isoflavones, which may help reduce inflammation, made it feel like a secret weapon for my joints. One of my favorite ways to eat tofu is to press out the excess water. This step really helps it soak up flavors, and then marinate it in a mix of garlic, ginger, soy sauce, and a touch of maple syrup or honey. Then I pan fry it until it's golden and crispy on the outside. That crispy exterior combined with the soft inside is pure magic, and it goes perfectly in stir-fries or salads. Beyond taste, the anti-inflammatory benefits of tofu shine through in its isoflavones, like genistein and daidzein. These compounds act like natural anti-inflammatory agents, helping reduce the activity of enzymes and pathways that cause joint swelling and pain. I remember reading a study where patients with rheumatoid arthritis showed improvement in symptoms after consuming soy isoflavones regularly. That made me even more confident about including tofu in my meals. Tofu is also a fantastic source of selenium, a trace mineral that plays a key role in reducing oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust on your joints. It damages cartilage and speeds up arthritis progression. Selenium's antioxidant properties help mop up harmful free radicals. When I started paying attention to selenium intake through foods like tofu, nuts, and seeds, I noticed my joint pain didn't spike as often. What's cool about selenium is that it also supports your immune system, which is super important because chronic inflammation in arthritis is partly driven by an overactive immune response. Including selenium-rich foods like tofu felt like giving my body extra tools to fight inflammation. Plus, selenium helps regulate thyroid function, which can sometimes get out of whack when inflammation runs high. I was surprised to learn that selenium can even help protect your heart, a bonus since people with arthritis often face higher cardiovascular risks. So, tofu isn't just helping my joints, it's supporting my overall health too. It's like a double win in my daily meal plan. If you're worried about tofu causing hormonal imbalances because of the phytoestrogens, I get it. But the evidence shows that moderate tofu consumption is safe for most people and can actually balance hormones, especially for women going through menopause. Plus, the anti-inflammatory benefits far outweigh any hormonal concerns for most arthritis sufferers. I can't talk about tofu without mentioning how great it is for weight management. So, if you've been hesitant about tofu or unsure how to use it, I encourage you to give it another chance. Try different preparations, find your favorite flavors, and make it a part of your arthritis fighting toolkit. From calming inflammation with its isoflavones to providing muscle-supporting protein and crucial minerals, tofu stands out as a versatile, affordable, and effective food to help ease joint pain and stiffness. At the end of the day, managing arthritis is about consistent choices, and including tofu regularly is one of those small but powerful habits that can add up to big benefits over time. Trust me, once you discover how tasty and satisfying it can be, tofu won't just be that weird soy thing anymore. It'll be a trusted ally in your journey toward less pain and more movement. So here's the deal. Whether it's lentils, chickpeas, or tofu, these three plant-based proteins have seriously changed how I think about managing arthritis through food. Each one brings something unique to the table, both literally and figuratively, when it comes to soothing inflammation and supporting joint health. And honestly, it's empowering to know that I can take control over my symptoms with foods that are not only nutritious, but also delicious and easy to include in daily meals. I know arthritis can feel overwhelming sometimes. The pain, the stiffness, the fatigue. It can mess with your mood and energy too. But what I love about these plant-based options is that they're not just medicine for the body, they're also nourishment for the soul. Cooking a warm bowl of lentils, roasting some chickpeas for a crunchy snack, or flipping tofu to golden perfection. These little rituals turn meal prep into something I actually look forward to, even on tough days. And if you're wondering about how these foods fit into a larger plan, remember this: no single food is a magic bullet. Arthritis is complex, and managing it requires a multi-pronged approach, like staying active, getting enough rest, managing stress, and of course, working closely with your healthcare provider. But by consistently choosing foods that fight inflammation, support muscle and bone health, and keep you energized, you're stacking the deck in your favor. I've been there, skeptical at first, but once I saw how my joint pain eased up a bit and how I started feeling stronger and less fatigued, I was hooked. The best part is that these proteins are super versatile. They fit into just about any diet style and any cultural cuisine. So they're not just healthy, they're also practical and enjoyable. That means you're way more likely to stick with them long term. So if you're battling arthritis or just want to keep your joints happy and healthy as you age, I really recommend giving lentils, chickpeas, and tofu a starring role in your meals. Play around with recipes, find the flavors you love, and make it a lifestyle rather than a chore. Your joints, and honestly, your whole body, will thank you. If you found this deep dive into plant-based proteins helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach others who might need this info. Also, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these proteins have you tried? Got any favorite recipes or tips? Or maybe you want to share how diet has helped your arthritis. Let's get the conversation going. And if you want to stay updated on more natural ways to manage pain, inflammation, and improve your overall health, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for spending this time with me, and here's to feeling stronger, moving easier, and living better every day.